Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Celtic are without three key players ahead of their Champions League match against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Jose Simonovic, Kolo Toure and Lee Griffiths have not travelled with the official party. Mark Wilson is the new first team coach at Airdrieonians, with Gordon Dalziel in there as the Director of Football. And Morton Jai Kitongo has been included in Scotland's under-21 squad for the friendly against Slovakia. That's just a few of the talking points in the company of Alan Ruff, and as ever on a Monday our bookroom guest is Mark Guidi. We will also look back over the games across all four divisions in Scotland at the weekend and discuss the Champions League match coming up, of course, tomorrow night in Dusseldorf, Borussia Mönchengladbach against Celtic. OK, three key players out. It's a blow, Ruffy. Three key players, two of them defenders. Yeah,
it's a massive blow after the last game where I thought Borussia were so dominant in all aspects of the park. So it is a good. I'd love to see how he's going to set it up. You know, it'll be interesting because they play with a lot of pace. You know, and although, as we've saw, they don't score a lot of goals, and again at the weekend they didn't score. But I would think it'd be a backs to the wall for Celtic.
Yeah, Owen O'Connell drafted into the squad. I mean, he has been put in big games before, but this is a huge ask against a team that could be even stronger, Mark, with Torgan Hazard and Raphael set to return to the team.
Yeah, I was at the Celtic-Borussia game a couple of weeks ago, Peter, and Borussia thoroughly deserved their victory. A typical German side, regimented, organised, great on the break, and Celtic just couldn't get away round them. They probed, they tried, and they only got so far. So, as I say, Borussia deserved to win that night. Celtic will miss certainly the boys in centre defence, there's no doubt about that. Although I have to say, Sviatchenko has really grown on me. I think he's developing into a really good defender, and up top, you know, Griffiths hasn't been starting games anyway. As much as it'd be good to have him on the bench, Dembele's still been there, you've still got options. But I think Ruffy's absolutely right. It'll be a backs to the wall job, and if Celtic can come out of there with a victory, great. I think that's too big an ask, but if they can nick a point, it still keeps them in the hunt with 2 games to go. If they lose, it's finished.
Yeah, and with that in mind, maybe less than a week ago, Mark, we were listening to you suggesting Celtic were going to win the league title by 20 points plus. Yeah. Suddenly they're 9 points ahead of Rangers, 10 points ahead of Aberdeen, Hearts and St Johnstone after that win over Aberdeen at the weekend. Here's what Brendan Rodgers had to say after that game.
I think if I assess it after 10 games, I've been really pleased with the progress of the squad. You know, I think there's a real connection now, you know, within the club in terms of the supporters, the team, everyone's in one direction, and we're working very well. But as I said, we still have a lot of evolution there with the club off the field and on the field, and there's still major improvements that we can make as a club to keep pushing forward. So, but certainly after 10 games, I think what we showed today, like I say, is that we can win any game of football. Whatever it was like in the past, I don't know, but what I know with this group now is that they can have confidence going in, that they can maybe outplay a team. You know, they can outpass a team, they can press a team, and if it's a fight, they can fight. You know, they can stand up, be counter, and be aggressive, and it's a great thing to have within the spirit. So yeah, it's been great. We've come to some real tough places and won. And this week tells you the story really about the team winning the League Cup, the semi-final 1-0. Tough game away at Dingwall, 4-0, where the squad was used, and then coming away to Pittodrie, which is always a tough game for any team, and in particular Celtic. So to win that, it's a really good moment, but it's only 10 games.
The progress domestically, I think the greatest learning curve for Celtic will come on the European stage. That's where he'll have the level of what he wants Celtic to try and get to.
Yeah, I mean, I think Celtic finished bottom in that section, Peter. It was a tough section for them, and to have that performance against Man City, the 3-3 draw at home was great, gave everybody a bit of belief. But I think the main thing for Celtic, having failed the previous 2 years, was just qualifying for the Champions League. Got them that £20 million plus And if they can get a crack at it again and again next season, then you look to go and improve and try and finish third or second in the section. The thing that Brendan Rodgers said there is absolutely right, and I'll stand by the 20 points thing, if not more. It could easily be wrapped up by the end of February, start of March, is that Celtic have the power in January to go out and bring in a real couple of quality players, which Brendan Rodgers will want to do, to give them 6 months to bed in rather than only 6 weeks ahead of Champions League qualifiers. So the thing for the rest of the clubs, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hearts, is you look at what Celtic have achieved under Brendan Rodgers in 3 months, the improvement in players in Forrest, Rogic, Brown back to form. What's it going to be like as the months go on? He gets more time to work with these guys. They are going to really dominate Scottish football, and no team, and probably rightly so in terms of what the budget of Celtic got, no team will be able to touch them.
Yeah, and rather worryingly, Ruffy, they're now looking at plans for a 200-room hotel just next to the stadium. So that tells me that they're planning to do everything in-house.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're looking at other complexes. I mean, you look at Man City, and if you get a chance to see it, it's absolutely amazing. Everything is all built in the same, all the pitches for all the different teams, and obviously hotels and that looks as if it's the bigger picture. You know, when it happens remains to be seen, but it's great to have these plans on board, and it just shows you the amount of money that they have to do these things.
Rangers, they managed a 3-0 win against Kilmarnock. Suddenly, things change from a draw against St Johnstone. Mark Warburton watched an impressive Rangers, an impressive Michael O'Halloran and Lee Wallace, who will suddenly become the main man, I would suggest to you, at left back for Scotland.
Yeah, when you look at the options that Gordon Strachan has, with no Andrew Robertson, no Kieran Tierney, to have someone of the quality of Lee Wallace to come in and play at Wembley next week is great. And Lee Wallace will find that transition. He'll do it seamlessly, Peter. So that's good news for Gordon Strachan. For Rangers, it was a very good performance on Saturday. It's been a long time coming. Another clean sheet, 3 goals, and after the 1-1 draw against St Johnstone in midweek, it's given the Rangers supporters hope. Because I think now all they want to do, and rightly so again, with what the budget that they have, is finish in second place, and it looks as though they may well be able to do that. But it'll be a great fight. Rangers, Aberdeen, and Hearts. I think that's going to be a great bit of competition.
Yeah, who do you pick?
I take it I've picked Rangers, but I can't remember. But
yeah.
I think again, just down to the budgets and the quality of the squad, then you'd have to say Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, I picked Hearts, Ruffy, but I thought it was going to be tough at the weekend, but I didn't expect a 6-goal thriller that suddenly transpired. He brought Johnson in. Johnson scored for them. I think he's looking for that competitive edge in the striking department.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for him, the 2 strikers that he's been relying on haven't been scoring goals, so he's made the decision to take them out of the firing line and see who else can. He might get a response from that with them 2 coming back in again, but I think Hearts, like anybody else, okay, they never lost the game, but they're not playing the way and winning games the way we thought they would, so that's why Rangers are where they are just now. But it'll be really interesting when Rangers get Aberdeen and Hearts to see where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go to the break, we'll look at some of the other results, and we'll bring you the Premiership Championship table in the next part of the programme. An appointment, Mark, Gordon Dalziel is Director of Football at Airdrieonians, and Mark Wilson comes in as new first-team coach. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, Airdrie won at the weekend under Kevin McBride. He's lost his job. And there's been a decision made by Gordon Dalziel. Gordon's been there for a couple of weeks now. Gordon's very good on the game. He's very thorough. He goes right into every bit of detail, and he's also decided to make a change. He knows Mark Wilson well from working with him in the media, and Mark Wilson's still a young man, but I think he's got a lot to offer. Yeah,
were you surprised by that, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think so. I think when Gordon went in, he said it was just going to be a Monday to Friday and he was going to oversee everything else, but obviously he has still got that feeling to be in the thick of things, and obviously he's been in the game a long time. He was successful with Ayr United, so once you get a wee touch, a wee feeling, and you're in the dressing room, you're getting the banter that goes on, you just want a wee bit more.
Yeah, just before we go into the break, congratulations to East Kilbride. They managed to emulate the achievements of Ajax with 26 consecutive wins with their victory over Vale of Leithen. And great for Ajax to send them the best wishes as well for managing to achieve those 26 consecutive wins. And also congratulations to Leanne Ross, who played in the 5-3 win for Glasgow City in their win over Rangers. They were, of course, crowned the champions for the 10th consecutive time in a row. And I think Leanne has been part of every one of them. She'll have those medals tucked away safely. Mark Guidi and Alan Ruff will join me after the break. We'll look more in detail at some of the other results from the Premiership and all the other divisions across Scotland. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Mark Guidi is our boot room guest. Don't forget, next week, from Monday through until Friday, Ruffy and myself will be on the road to Wembley. We'll be there bringing you special guests and all the build-up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. We'll be down there working as hard as we possibly can every night of the week in London. Certainly looking forward to it, Ruffy. I was listening to you do the commercial this morning. It was fantastic.
She's never put He's never put a shift in his life.
Absolutely. If this goes anything like when you were actually playing for Scotland, it could be one heck of a week.
Yeah, but I think this fixture's back on the cards again. I think it had faded away a wee bit because it was friendlies and whatever, but now there's a bit of competitiveness here. I think the supporters will grasp it and they'll be down there in their numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the excitement there from so many people when Mark announced Russia was going to be there, and then it just fell flat when they realised it was just a little slip of the tongue. It was Ruffy. Slovakia against Scotland, under 21s. This match coming up on the 9th of November. Good to see Jai Katongo in that squad. I think that just a real confidence booster for the lad, because I maybe felt as if he was being overlooked.
Yeah, funny, I watched him in the opening league day of the season when Morton played against St Mirren in Paisley, and it really caught the eye, Peter, and obviously there's a couple of clubs have bid for him. Morton have managed to hold on to him, and I think it's credit to the boy. He's got a good attitude, he's been willing to go to work hard, and I think, as usual, it's credit to Jim Duffy as well, because Duff just works away constantly. He's great in the training ground with his players, so it's good for him, and it's good to see a lower league guy being recognised by the national squad. Yeah, and one other little point I wanted to highlight to you guys before we go back onto some of the results from the weekend was the Scottish Football Hall of Fame. Now this is not for obviously the people who get their 50 caps. They automatically go into the SFA Hall of Fame. This one I think recognises so many who maybe not weren't able to achieve 50 caps, but certainly their contribution to Scottish football is immense. One of them, of course, Stevie Chalmers, who scored one of the most famous goals for Celtic in 1967. Yeah, it was great for Stevie Chalmers to get in last night. Long overdue. I remember having a conversation with the people last season about that and couldn't believe that he wasn't already in it. So, yeah, it was great to see Stevie being recognised and rightfully in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and another two former Liverpool players that received recognition, Gary McAllister and John Watt. Now, the reason I'm looking towards you on this, Ruffy, I think Gary McAllister is well appreciated by most, but I don't think quite a number of people realise John Watt's achievements for Ipswich Town and for Liverpool, especially in Europe. Yeah, both of them. Obviously, I just made contact with him at the Scotland team, but he was an absolute box-to-box player. You don't see that many midfield players now putting in that shift, you know, defending and being up supporting the strikers, and he was absolutely fantastic at it, and I'm sure the amount of goals he scored is there for everybody to see, and I'm surprised he wasn't in it a lot earlier as well. Yeah, and one of the really nice men of football, it's just an education actually sitting next to him, having a chat with him, Alex Smith was inducted in as well. Alex Smith, a great career, Peter. You go way back to Stirling Albion and St Mirren, in Aberdeen, Scotland under 21s. You know, a really fantastic role in the Scottish League Managers Association as well. He works tirelessly behind the scenes for young managers and coaches, make sure they're protected, and I think they've got good guidelines and good rules. So Alex Smith is one of our game's gentlemen, and it was great to see him being inducted as well as Gary McAllister and John Morton. Gary McAllister is one of the finest midfielders that our country has produced. When he played all his career pretty much down south after he left Motherwell, but still, when he was in top form, you think his contribution to that Liverpool team under Gerard Tooley, he was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, and a man who more than deserves his place in Scottish football history and certainly into the Hall of Fame is Jock Wallace. I don't think I would have fancied being a reporter getting on his wrong side, to be honest with you, Ruffy, but as part of that team with Willie Waddle guiding Rangers to the Cup Winners' Cup in 1972, and of course part of the treble winning.
Yeah, if you listen to all the Rangers players that played under him, they always had a high respect for him. Obviously, you know, he's one of these guys, whenever he met you, he punched you before he started talking to you. Like a friendly punch in the chest, and how are you getting on? And, you know, he was that kind of guy. He was so enthusiastic about everything. And I think if you ask any Rangers players around about that era, it was joy to work with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good that you gave us that insight, Ruffy, because I'm sure he would have punched me and Mark just before he started talking to us. Let's look at the Premiership results from the weekend and just reflect on some of the other scorelines there. And the one that's just screaming out at me is the 1-0 win for Dundee. Mark Paul Hartley. It's probably the first weekend in many a weekend where he's been able to relax and enjoy a glass of wine. Yeah,
I was delighted for Paul Hartley. They got that result. You could see the way they celebrated, but the reaction at full time, the huddle, there's a togetherness there. Listen, let's be honest, had Dundee lost that game on Saturday, it could have been Paul's last in charge. But look, he's a fine young manager. You look at his CV, he's had 5 terrific years between Alloa and Dundee. For the past 4 or 5 weeks, he's had to face the other side of things, but he can graft. He'll get Dundee out of it, but a great result for them.
Yeah, and wins are so crucial, Ruffy, as you can see the table after the weekend's results. Of course, Celtic with that 9-point gap over Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, St Johnstone, all tucked in there. But at the bottom end now, with Dundee's win, not much to separate between 12th place and 6th place.
Yeah, I think the likes of Partick Thistle and Motherwell, who got wins at the weekend, would sort of be relying on Dundee not picking up any points, so there would be a gap emerging. But with Dundee winning, it's just made that 4 points, it's made it even more crucial to win games. And as I said, we're talking about the weekend, there's Partick Thistle, 6 points out of 6, and they're still only 4 points away for the bottom of the league.
Yep, absolutely. What about the Championship? Here are the scores from the weekend there, and of course Hibs seem to have got over that sticky patch. They got a 2-0 win over St Mirren, and now we all thought Dundee United would be in there, but we're just starting to see signs now, Mark, of them getting up ahead of steam.
Yeah, I watched Dundee United a couple of weeks ago and they destroyed St Mirren. Played really well. They've got quality players. It was just about Ray McKinnon getting time to gel it together, Peter. But when I look at someone the calibre of Tony Andreu in their team, with the ability that he's got, he could make the difference in a lot of games. So I would expect Dundee United and Hibs to go toe-to-toe between now and the end of the season. Yeah,
here's a look at the Championship table, and it's just shaping up nicely, Ruffy, because of course St Mirren take on Dumbarton next week, and I think that's really where we're going to get a real insight into the early stages of Jack Ross's management.
Yeah, sort of a similar last year to Alec Reagan in there. I mean, St Mirren weren't bottom of the league, but they weren't far off it, and Alec got them on a wee run and took the pressure off them a wee bit, and I think that's what they'll be hoping to do this time. But they need to start picking up points, because once you're down there, the pressure gets on you, and sometimes your supporters don't give you the time that you need. But I'm sure they will, because it's not his fault that they're there, and I'm sure they will pick them up.
Yep, and League One, the scores from League One. Just looking, Livingston again with a good convincing win at Brecon, and Gus McPherson, if we're talking about sticky patches, he's facing one at the moment. He'll have to turn things around, and then of course, as if to highlight managers who can indeed turn things around over the last couple of weeks, Jim McInally has started to get a little bit of momentum with Peterhead.
Yeah, and you'll be delighted with that, Peter. I think you tipped Peterhead at the start of the season, so they're going better. That'll be a tight division as well. Airdrie have made a managerial change, Alloa have made a managerial change, Jim Goodwin got in there too, Stranraer, so listen, that'll be a really good league, that'll be competitive.
Yeah, and Thanks for reminding me of that, Mark. Into League Two, and the one thing I would say from the results there, it looked as if we were about to start celebrating Edinburgh City with their first league win in the professional game. It just wasn't to be, and having spoken to Barry Ferguson, Clyde's 1-1 against Stirling, sometimes it's the difference between just getting somebody who's on a goal-scoring run, getting the goals is key. It's so tight at the top and the bottom end in that division, Ruffy.
Well, it's been like for the last 2 or 3 seasons. You know, it's been the most competitive league of all. You know, and it's basically because, as you've just said there, they don't have a striker that can get you 25 goals.
Okay, thank you very much to the guys, Mark Guidi and Ruffy today. Alec Ray will be joining us on the programme tomorrow. But don't forget, coming up next week, we'll be down there in London, getting ready, the big build-up, 5 days, the build-up for England against Scotland, and there will be a special feature. It's called Rough Guide to London, which Ruffy will take you through the top spots in the London area. Now that, I am telling you, is not to be missed, because he's been in every one of them. He knows them inside out. And if you're a Tartan Army fan, next week is definitely not to be missed. That is indeed if he turns up in the first place. That's another thing.
He'll be too busy chasing stories.
Good night.